you ever wondered what really sparked the idea for SpaceX? And what did Socrates have to do with rockets? In this video, I'm going to talk about the thinking Elon Musk used when he started SpaceX and how you can use it too. Before we get to the actionable info, a quick story about the origins of SpaceX. In early 2002, flying on a private jet from Russia, Elon Musk was frustrated and trying to understand why rockets were so expensive. Elon Musk was trying to buy 3 decommissioned ICBMs from the Russians. After a grueling 3 rounds of negotiations, Elon left with nothing. He left empty-handed because the Russians wanted an unreasonable $21 million per rocket for 3 rockets. This was post-PayPal exit for Elon, so he walked away with a cool $180 million, but spending $63 million on decommissioned Russian missiles seemed a little bit risky even for Elon. So Elon went to the framework of first principles, using Socratic reasoning to ask the question, what are rockets made out of, really? Some aerospace-grade aluminum alloy, some copper, titanium, carbon fiber, and then he asked, what's the value of these materials on the commodity market? It turned out that the material cost of a rocket was only about 2% of the actual cost of the rocket. This is a crazy ratio. For comparison, Elon has said that Tesla cars have a material cost of around 20 to 25%. Using first principles, the lowest cost you could ever build something for is for the price of the constituent materials. If you could wave a magic wand and rearrange all the atoms into the shape of the object, that would be the cheapest price you could ever make that object. The rest of the costs are caught up in the inefficiencies of the manufacturing process. The wild inefficiencies in the aerospace industry led Elon to the idea that maybe he could start his own rocket company. By building the rockets in-house, he could increase the efficiency at which the rockets were built, and he could closely monitor the costs. As a result, on March 14th of 2002, Elon Musk founded Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, or SpaceX. Reasoning from first principles gave Elon Musk the insight he needed to realize how wildly inflated the aerospace industry was, and that it was ready for disruption. Before I explain how you can find first principles, I want to touch on the idea of falsifiability. Philosopher Karl Popper said, a theory is part of empirical science if and only if it conflicts with possible experiences and is therefore, in principle, falsifiable by experience. The idea here is, if you can't prove something wrong, in theory, you can't prove it right either. Thus, in Popper's words, science requires testability. If observation shows that the predicted effect is definitely absent, then the theory is simply refuted. This means a good theory has an element of risk to it, the risk that it could be wrong, and it must be proven wrong under stated conditions. Why I'm talking about this will make sense in a second. Socratic questioning can be used to establish first principles through a stringent analysis process. This disciplined questioning process is used to establish truths, reveal underlying assumptions, and separate knowledge from ignorance. The key distinction between Socratic questioning and ordinary discussion is that Socratic questioning tries to draw out the answers and first principles in a systematic manner. Socratic questioning generally follows this process. First, clarifying your thinking, explaining the origins of your ideas, such as, why do I think this? What exactly do I think? 2, challenging assumptions. How do I know this is true? What if I thought the opposite? Third one is looking for evidence. How can I back this up? What are the sources? 4th, consider alternative perspectives. What might others think? How do I know I'm correct? 5th, examining consequences and implications. What if I'm wrong? What are the consequences if I am? 6, questioning the original questions. Why did I think that? Was I correct? What conclusions can I draw from the reasoning process? Socratic questioning stops you from relying on your gut and limits strong emotional responses. This process can help you build something that'll last. Another method is the 5 whys. Just like talking to a toddler, children instinctively think in first principles. Just like us, they want to understand what's happening in the world around them. They do this by intuitively breaking through the fog with a game that annoys the shit out of siblings and parents, the why game. If for some reason you haven't experienced it, all you have to do is just repeatedly ask why after every question. The goal of 5 whys is to land on a what or a how. It's not about introspection, such as why do I feel this way? Rather, it's about systematically diving further into a statement or concept to determine if you're working with reliable knowledge or just assumptions. If your whys end in a statement of falsifiable fact, then you know you've hit a first principle. If they end with because I said so, or it just is, that means you've hit an assumption, cultural myth, or dogma. That's not a fact. These are not first principles. There's no doubt that both of these methods in the short term slow us down because we have to think, pause, and research. They even seem to get in the way of what we want to accomplish. And after we do them a couple of times, we often find ourselves a little bit lost after a few questions. We don't actually know the answer to most of the questions we're asking. But when we are confronted with our own ignorance, we can't just give up or resort to self-defense. If we do, we will never identify the first principles we have to work with, and will instead make mistakes that in the long term will hurt us and slow us down. If you learn and practice these techniques, you can have your own creative insights and solutions when you're confronted with a problem. And maybe you'll have the idea for the next SpaceX. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video and you would like to watch more, please subscribe to my channel and watch my latest video.